Why the raw meat, they say. Jim, we like your videos, but why do you always have to start with a big bloody roast? Don't you ever do any vegetarian sandwiches? This is a video about a vegetarian sandwich that has been an obsession of mine ever since I saw Anthony Bourdain sitting on a bench by a dusty side street in Saint Louis, Senegal, eating a breakfast of baguette and beans. A few years later, the website Thrillist declared a summer of sandwiches, with dozens of sandwich-related articles anchored by a big piece called Around the World in 80 Sandwiches. A piece that happened to mention me in reference to my work on a Finnish sandwich called Porlainen, and they called me an enterprising investigative sandwich blogger. I'll take it. Anyway, the Thrillist article also called out a Senegalese breakfast baguette featuring, quote, red beans cooked in a spicy tomato paste with onions and myriad spices, along with, quote, a generous helping of mayonnaise and hot sauce. It did not name the sandwich, but Bourdain did. The bean dish is called Ndambe, and the sandwich as well, or perhaps pan Ndambe. Ndambe is a ubiquitous everyday bean stew in its home country of Senegal, which usually does include some kind of meat, lamb or beef perhaps. But when I first saw the sandwich version in that episode of Parts Unknown 8 years ago, that's not what I saw. I saw a humble dish, something a woman selling bean dip outside a bakery on a Senegalese side street might make. And neither Bourdain nor the Thrillist article mentioned meat being any part of the bean sandwiches they described. So when I sought out a recipe to make it myself, I looked for and found a vegetarian version, featuring black-eyed peas, onion, garlic, tomato paste, bay leaves, jumbo seasoning cubes, which seemed to be vegetarian based on the ingredient list, but an explicitly vegetarian or vegan bouillon cube could be used instead, and Scotch bonnet peppers. The beans are simmered until tender, and then the cooked combination of seasoning ingredients is mixed in. These beans are a dream, salty, savory, nutty, and a little spicy. By themselves in a baguette, they might be a little dull, and I didn't necessarily trust the advice to simply add mayonnaise. So I looked up a Senegalese chili sauce and found sosukani, which features very hot chilies tempered by tomato and onion, garlic and bay leaf, cooked in palm oil and then blended until thick and smooth and savory. A good crisp-crusted baguette, a tasty bean spread, and a savory, spicy tomato chili sauce makes for quite a good sandwich. Black-eyed peas have a nutty flavor that, combined with the cooked onion sweetness, extra umami from the seasoning cubes and tomato paste, and that slight kick of habanero spice, gives the Ndambe more than enough flavor to stand on its own, even against a much larger volume of good, crusty, chewy bread. The sosukani amplifies the already savory, spicy flavor of the beans as well. But a crusty, chewy bread, like a French baguette, is not the best choice for a squishy bean spread. When the crumb of the bread is too firm for the filling of the sandwich, it compresses and pushes the filling out the sides as you bite into it. A softer crumbed baguette is a better choice in my opinion. So I picked up an extra long from D'Amato's, the bread that a lot of Chicago's best sub sandwiches are made with. One thing we insist on here at the Tribunal is that a great sandwich starts not with great bread, but with the right bread. Softer fillings need softer bread, and while I think you could make a good meal simply spreading a highly flavored bean spread like Ndambe on a crusty, chewy baguette, the softer crumb works better in sandwich form. This was the Ndambe sandwich that I envisioned, the crisp crust of the baguette giving way to a soft crumb that hugged the beans inside rather than pushing them out. Same delicious sandwich, 10 times easier to eat.